Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. So today I want to talk about how do you know if you're in a calorie deficit. So before I start this video, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you're watching this, give it a like at the end if you've taken something away from it. Also, I do get a lot of questions on my Instagram. This is where I get my inspiration for my videos. So if you haven't already, go over to my Instagram page at samslackfit. Give me a follow, and if you've got any questions, just drop me a DM and I'll talk about them on here. So how do we know if we're in a calorie deficit? So there's a few things that I like to look at when we're trying to lose body fat, okay? The first thing is hunger. So when you're starting your transformation journey, when you're starting your fat loss journey, if you've gone from eating quite a few amount of calories and you've started to reduce them, you're going to feel a bit of hunger. This isn't bad. This is just your body kind of changing. And this is the telltale sign to me and my clients that we're in this calorie deficit. So just be aware that when you start to feel a little bit hungry, you know, it is kind of a sign. It's not a bad thing that you're feeling hungry. If it's a case of you're absolutely starving, then you've probably dropped your calories too low. But a little bit of hunger is a good sign. And you might have felt it as well. You know, you start this diet plan, nutrition plan, you're starting your training, your cardio, you start to feel a little bit hungry. That for me is a little sign that we're in that calorie deficit. Now, an important point that me and my clients like to look at when it comes to knowing if we're in that calorie deficit is our photos. And often when we start a journey, we might be a bit overweight and we might be a little bit self-conscious of the way we look. So we don't tend to take photos, but you're missing out on a big thing here, because when we look at the changes physically, this is a big sign that we're going in the right direction. Often we might just take one picture of our front and then compare it to previous weeks, but we don't always lose body fat from the front. We can be losing it from our legs, from our back. So what I do with my clients is we take photos front, back and side every single week, and then we compare. And it's crazy the amount of changes that we see on a weekly basis. This is telling us that we're in a calorie deficit. And it's not just a case of the weight is coming off. We're going to see changes in muscle. We might see our chest getting bigger, our shoulders developing, our arms. So it's so important to take these pictures front, back and side every single week. And this is a sign that we're doing the right thing. We're in that calorie deficit. Another thing is our weight. Obviously, we have to look at the scale because this is an indication that weight is coming off. Whether it's body fat, whether it's water, whether it's muscle. If the scale is going down, something is happening. So this is a telltale sign that we could be in a deficit as well. But we don't want to solely look at this. And this is an important thing to remember. If we get too fixated with the scales, then we're not looking at the bigger picture, because obviously we want to keep muscle, build muscle as well. A really important one to be aware of is people around you saying that you're looking better. Often we kind of forget that, or we just kind of dismiss it because they might just be saying it to be kind. But when someone is noticing that you're looking different, that you're looking better, take that as a compliment and take that you're doing the right thing, that you're in that calorie deficit, that the work that you're doing is actually working. Don't dismiss it and just shrug it off, because sometimes we can get self-critical. We can just, hold ourselves to a high standard, which is great, but sometimes that's not always good, especially if you haven't got a coach or you haven't got people that are actually supporting you. Take those signs that people can see the results happening as a compliment, as a push to keep making progress. We can also look at measurements, body measurements. It's something that I don't really do, but I do have clients that like to do it for motivation. And if you're someone that likes measuring, tracking, then there's nothing wrong with measuring your waist, the measurements that you want to see progress. Because if we're building muscle as well, then we can see an increase. Okay, we don't just want to see everything going down, because a lot of people can build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. So those are the things that I look at when it comes to knowing if we're in a calorie deficit. Okay, because if we're tracking our food intake, if we're tracking our energy expenditure, and we're trying to focus on that number, that total daily energy expenditure, sometimes it can get confusing. So the things that I like to look at, let's recap. Hunger. When you see those signs of hunger, it's a kind of a feeling that you know that you're in that deficit. Pictures, something that people often neglect because they feel self-conscious, they don't want to do that right yet. They might want to wait until they've got 10, 20, 30 pounds off before they start taking pictures. But if you start taking them at the start, then that's going to give you the confidence that you're going in the right direction. And if you're not, then you know you need to make a change. Front, back and side is always the best because we don't just want to look at body fat coming off the front. It might come off the back, the love handles, and even the legs. And then we've got to look at people around us. If people around us can notice that we're looking trimmer, our clothes are fitting better, which is another key point. If your clothes are fitting better, if they're starting to hang off you and you need to change your belt buckle, then this is another sign that you're going in the right direction, that you're in that deficit. So these are the things that I look at. These are the things that I look at with my clients, not just the scale weight. So hope that was helpful, guys. Again, make sure that you give this a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next video.